Hi, VOD watchers. You might be asking yourself, what happened to the Start Soon screen? The answer is nothing. Nothing has happened. I just decided not to use Starting Soon tonight. We're just ignore chat. Ignore that chat is already filled with people, which is a complete, you know, anomaly for me. It's a clean slate. But regardless, for the next, I'd say month, all of November, if I can help it, we'll be raising money for the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund, which is an organization that helps children in Palestine and the Middle East get access to basic supplies and medical care. I currently have the goal set to 200. I don't expect that to change. I'm not gonna like lengthen the goal because the idea is 200 is how much I may have asked for like the monthly goals I've been doing. And I've just decided to throw those out for the rest of the year and put it all into charity. And uh, in the spirit of giving more to chat, I have extra rewards for both within the 200, like every 50 as opposed to every 100, and stretch goals. So for $50, I will take a video of me feeding Oswald a banana and post it to Discord and other places where people will be easily able to find it. Oswald is very cute. He loves bananas. Here's the thing: I've been getting him treats more recently, and less just banana, and less just regular fruit, human fruit. Uh, so I imagine he will devour it within one bite. My little bunny will devour an entire banana. At $100, I will do a special stream, like start early, go for extra long, of Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I have been trying to be good at Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I can't necessarily say I'm succeeding. So the idea is I will, like for example, I'll be playing the arcade. I haven't beaten all of the arcade because it's big and I want to get S ranks and getting S is hard. So, of course I haven't like without dedicating all my time to playing Dragon Ball, I haven't beaten it. So I'll probably do some of that, maybe do some online play with people in chat if they have the game and like to play it. Um, I welcome any challengers. I will probably lose, but I figured I've been thinking about doing that for a while, and what better way to reward people's charity than to embarrass myself online? At $150, we have more Oswald stuff, which is I will set him up in his little playpen with a bunch of toys and amenities that he will enjoy. And I'll just point a camera at him, and that'll be his stream. Like I'll be in the background DJing, making it, you know, making stream atmospherically nice, but all in all, it will mostly just be Oswald hanging out. At $200, if we reach the goal for theoretically, what the monthly goals would have been, I will uh I will start speed running Bloodborne. And I don't mean I will do a stream of me speedrunning Bloodborne. I mean like I will start like practicing and making real attempts at records and personal best at speedrunning my favorite Soulsborne game. So, that's wild. I can't imagine I'd be good at that, but I do my best. We might like go for glitchless maybe, just so that way I don't have to get down some because I think the record is around half an hour, if not under that, with glitches. And if I can't pull off the glitches, then I would just need to, uh, maybe go for pure game skill, which is also not maybe the best idea on my behalf, but it's all I got. At $250, if we decide to go beyond that, donate even. Thank you, Paul. I have a good bed. If you decide to go even beyond what maybe we would have raised for monthly goals for 2 months, um, I will do a tier list of all the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure stands I know of, which is roughly like all of them from part 1 to 5. I mean, there's not really any in part 1, so you know, however many exist up to part 5, which is honestly a few of them. And just to buff that out a bit, I'm also going to be drawing each stand as I do so. So, like every time we move on to a stand and I talk about it and kind of review it, I will be doodling it to put into the tier list. At $300, even further beyond, I will be doing Bean Boozled Mario Kart, which is where I play Mario Kart and or again have an open lobby if enough people want to race me. And every time I don't place in the top 3 on the pedestals, get a trophy, I will eat a Bean Boozled bean. If you don't know those, oh no, don't worry about it. Maybe just raise money for charity. At $400, we've gotten a little, not $50 anymore. We're at this point we're just raising the money, and these are big rewards. I will do a 12-hour animation stream. It is somewhat common in the animation scene, like somewhat known, to do what is commonly referred to as the 24. Also, I realized there is like, this is why I don't like the what was I thinking of? The Hollow Knight soundtrack is great. It is also wildly quiet. Anyway, so yeah, at $400, I will be doing a 12-hour animation stream, which is basically like I start an animation and to have 12 hours to finish it. At $500 is a surprise. At $500 is maybe the biggest thing I've ever done on stream. I will reveal it when we get closer to it. But at $500 is the biggest thing I have ever done on stream. No exaggeration. The absolute wildest thing I have ever decided to do on stream. And if we reach it, I'll do it. And at $750, which is the final stretch goal, is another surprise related to that. Kind of letting you guys mess with me a bit on that one, if you so choose. So, if we unveil that goal, which would have to be well over raising $400 for this cause, then I will also talk about the extra stretch goal to let you guys know kind of what those final 2 big rewards are. It's definitely a lot. I couldn't think of something that would be worth $1,000, so I stopped at $750. I was like, that's a lot of stretch goals, and $750 is a lot of money. So if we get to it, then that'll be fun. Anyway, let's fucking stream art. That would be amazing. Let me do of art. But yeah, I hope everyone's having a good day. I said that in the dead timeline. I hope no one here remembers the dead timeline, which now no longer exists. I'm gonna check one more thing actually. I swan to John Twitch. If you don't have my back on this one thing, then I'll start start streaming on a porn site. Like it would be preferable. Do you think like people who stream on porn sites like enjoy the UI they interact with? Who knows, right? I mean, I guess you could ask one. I wonder if it comes to mind much. Probably. I like the gut reaction is no, not at all. That would never. It would never be on anyone's mind. Which is fair. Which is fair. But I don't know. Listen, there's a lot of streaming sites out there. It's just Twitch is typically the one that cracks down the hardest on NSFW, and thus has, to what little credit we can all give it, has stopped itself. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Hello? What? Riku, why? Riku, why? Riku, why? Riku, why? Huh? Why? Huh? What why? Literally why? What happened? Wait, Riku, okay. That's a lot. Yes, and I'm also, did that go through Tiltify? Like, did you use the charity link, or did you accidentally give it to me? Which is now what I'm wildly paranoid of. How about we void? Man, I will not be doing art tonight. Riku, I have a sneaking suspicion you may have accidentally handed that money directly to me. There was a chair. Yeah. 1 second. 1 second. Now PayPal is fucking with me. Is this just the stream of technical difficulties? Oh, I'm a goober. No, you're good. You're good. Don't worry. I should have taken down my own personal donation link before starting stream, honestly. I am logging into my PayPal account, yes. Because I'm not going to be like, don't worry, Riku, I'll do it for you. No. I could also just be a good person. I could also just be a halfway decent, guy. And just give it right on back to I was logging in with a one-time code. Is this the right link? Donate at Tiltify. It should be. Issue refund. Continue. It should be. I'm going to make sure though. What the Hello? That is the Tiltify link. Oh wait. Why? I cannot believe. That should be the Tiltify link. Hey Tiltify, I don't need an account. I have one. I apologize for this. Do not refund that. Look, Shadow Mage, don't do that. Why would you do that? Like, I mean, I appreciate it, but you literally were like, is this it? And I'm like, no, it's not. I appreciate a tip, but still. I want to make sure that's the right one. Okay, yeah, this is going. Okay, so yes, it is going. That link is going to Tiltify. Okay. Because I'm a monster. Yeah. You're not. You're nice. I appreciate it. But we should be raising money for charity. Because, I mean, I'm honestly, I'll say it again. The reason I went, like, again, I like to, in many ways, just be a goofy goober who helps people relax after living in a stressful world. But I'm just getting back to art now because as far as I know, on the surface, everything should be working. Anyway, with that in mind, I like to be a goofy goober who helps people escape from the typical hoo-ha of your day-to-day. What do you mean they're done? Oh my lord, Riku, thank you for the $200 to the Tiltify campaign. I honestly don't know. That might have just broken because fucking you spent so much, but okay, well Riku has thank you, Riku, for a wildly overly generous donation. You are an insanely good person, Riku. I cannot thank you enough. To the PCRF, which I mean that'll be helping kids in like just what some of the worst situation a child should never be in. Get like the most basic resources they should already have access to. So I cannot thank you enough. So yeah, on top of many rabbit things, which I'll have to plan for sometime in November, I also have to do in November of bad fighting game stream and start speedrunning Bloodborne. So was the speedrunning Bloodborne just like I must? I hope so. I was hoping it was a good a good incentive on top of just the fantastic cause. So thank you again, Riku. I literally words cannot describe how amazing what you just did is. So, but I have a budget. I was trying to. Is there no $202.99? Oh my lord. Time to go to Stream Elements. I love doing this. This is why is I'm going to beat several applications. Is it just gonna be like, oh yeah, it happened. We just didn't play it. And I'm gonna be like, I literally despise you. Okay, well currently it was like, it got Shadow Mage and Riku being generous to me. I remember Barry did have trouble with, you know. Tiltify alert. Variations. I love hearing your choice. Oh my god, I have to go let the dog out. I am so wildly upset right now. Yes, you can go out. Come here. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm back. How y'all doing? Hi, Zaid. Don't, Zaid. I cannot. Please don't. I don't know why fucking Tiltify donations would not be working. It's literally like, hey. Set. Okay, there we go. That is not double Riku 200s, but if you take just one more diddly darn step, and apparently a monster, Shadow Mage, please. I'm having probably the roughest probably simultaneously the roughest and most like successful charity stream I've ever run. And it wasn't supposed to be, you know? This was supposed to be like, hey, I'm just going to passively stream, and then over the course of, let's say, a month, we'll raise this much. Well, yeah, that I did add a caveat there, Schmage. So there is that. I do recognize that in terms of goal for charity stream, this has very much been plenty successful. So I cannot deny that. I don't know how boats work. This might be semi-important. Boats do things and I don't know how. You want to know something? I was thinking about this before. So, the Straw Hats OG ship from One Piece, I know. Just hear me out. The Going Merry. It is slightly smaller in terms of a ship size. What a boat. And the thing about that is that slightly smaller ships and or boats will have rudder tills, typically, i.e. instead of like a wheel at your helm, you'll be having a you'll have kind of just like a stick attached to the rudder that you use to turn it. The Straw Hats one is in a cabin. Like, I know typically the helmsman doesn't have the best visibility as is at the back of a ship, but the what's it called? The till on the Going Merry is in an enclosed space. And I'm sure that's good for, you know, when you want to make sure the boat's going straight in the rain. But it also has to make, like, just looking out for hitting stuff wildly extra difficult. Because, I mean, heck, it's not even like you could just be like, yeah, there's a lookout. No, because the lookout would probably be outside or in a crow's nest. You know, not in the same room. Because, again, room. As the helmsman. And as such, would have to put in that extra effort in order to communicate. To be like, hey, there's a rock in like 5 minutes. I do think there is like I mean, this is in like more modern ships. So at the very least you can kind of have like a basic communication system. Like mayhaps a horn, like a physical, I'm putting my voice in one end of a tube and it's coming out the other kind of thing. Or a phone. But I think larger cruise ships, I remember seeing this on like the Titanic kind of thing, where like someone calls it out and then the helm is they're just like 5 points east, and then someone else is like 5 points east, and then the helmsman is like 5 points east, and then they turn 5 points east. Difficult as it may be to believe. But again, I'm talking about the specifics of the One Piece ship. And the specifics are, they did not have that many crew members to be, what was I thinking of? To just be rocking out. Also, I'll be right back. I want to make sure the dog is okay. Oop. Oh my goodness. Why I mean, I imagine Stream Delay made that so that I said that like right after you typed in send, but I it's so weird that people bully each other via money on Twitch. No one, like, if capitalism has given us one thing, it is that hilariously, typically, the method of destroying someone on the web, on the wildly successful website twitch.tv, is to give them money, like, just free of charge. So that's great. Anyway, give me 1 second. I have my eye on you, chat. In theory. Anyway, man, I don't know what to do. I am going nuts. I genuinely would like to not, what was I thinking of? Go into work tomorrow. Like, if determined by me, by how I'm feeling, I would just be like, hey, I can't come in. But I've really never been the type to do that. Maybe once in a while, I'll be like, hey, listen, I genuinely cannot be doing this right now. But tomorrow, I'd probably just gonna be like, yeah. Because I mean, I mean it when I was like, I had plans to take it very easy this weekend, to kind of just recuperate, because I think in general, I mean, I've said it so much in person. I don't know how much I've said it on stream, but like this year has just been just I don't want to sound like, you know, I don't want to be whining, but I've done a lot this year, and it's taken a lot of energy. So I'm just trying to be like, trying to tone it down. But I ended up running all over yesterday. Now, granted, part of it was self-inflicted, because I went to Medieval Times with Deja. Wow, thank you, Shadow Mage. I went to Medieval Times with Deja, because they were like, I want to go to Medieval Times, will you come with me? And I said yes, so they got us tickets. And I was like, they got us tickets to Medieval Times. I wasn't going to be like, no. How could you even think I'd want to do something like that? Of course I want to do something like that. This is nerds and... it's nerd stuff. And then today just ended up unexpectedly being a bunch of chores. And I went over to family, which I only found out was happening yesterday. Surprise plans are just... to his credit, Yeah, Shadow Mage. I would not compare it to that at all, if I'm being honest. But regardless, uh, what was I thinking of? Do, 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 do. But yeah, I don't know. I'm bad at saying no to plans, basically. I think is the gist of it. You know, it's like if I want to not be doing anything, and someone approaches me, being like, you know, hey, we're gonna do X on that day. Uh, I feel like I end up getting pressured into it, which also isn't great because a lot of the times that means when push comes to shove, I end up saying no to people I do want to hang out with and do things with, because either A, it is my schedule is literally so full that physically, like, it's not no because I don't want to, it is no because I cannot. I either say no to you off the bat, which is, the respectful and polite, the right thing to do. If you're not going to do plans, then when they ask you, say no, which sounds obvious, but I remember talking to someone who was just like, yeah, don't like pretend to have plans at me and then cancel. That's the worst. And I get that, because if you look forward to something and then someone's just like, I can't, then it's just like, oh. But regardless, on top of that, it's also kind of a thing where, though typically the people where it's like I would like to do that with whatever person, then I end up saying no because I thought those people I feel like are more understanding and will be all like, oh, that's fine, I don't feel quite as pressured to do those plans, and thus, if I have to, they can end up being the ones getting cut, which isn't great, But also, I never want to try and do something for fun, and then be all like, well, I am too tired to be having fun right now. It's so wild. So wild how energy works, That I sound like I'm about to go into a crystal fueled rant, but hear me out, because I guess you could. Is there a scientific word for it, like beyond energy, like the just like willingness to do something, awakenedness, general awakenedness, and otherwise readability? Anything more? Motivation, I guess. But I would argue it's weird because I'm trying to describe almost like the physical side of it, Because at the end of the day, there is a physical component, There is like actual parts of your body making, X, Y, or Z feel a certain way. Whether it's like, I guess, sore muscles or yada yada yada. It is something physical on some scale in your body making you be like, I cannot like do this activity right now. I do guess it is a physical sensation which prompts an emotional response, because typically most people don't do stuff until they physically collapse, Hopefully no one's doing that. But there is a level before that where your body is telling you like, hey, we need to just like not be doing this right now, and thus your emotional response becomes like, I cannot do that. I refuse to do that. You know, sometimes that's how I just draw curves, is a bunch of like using the line tool and being like bop, 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 you know, incrementing angles. It makes me think of topical for Halloween and Christmas. It makes me think of like Tim Burton, Nightmare Before Christmas. I feel like a lot of his curves end up being like more like an octagon than an actual circle. Wait, I need to look something up. Tim Burton age. Okay, I'm looking this up. 65. Junji Ito age. 60. Okay, they're roughly the same. They are about they are about around the same age. The idea came to me that Junji Ito is younger, and I guess technically he is, than Tim Burton, but how much younger was going to determine how shocked I was. Both being in their 60s is like, that works. I don't know. Because I was about to be like, you know, Tim Burton isn't doing Uzumaki. He's not drawing perfect spirals to scare people. But then I was like, man, Uzumaki came, you know, pretty far after Nightmare Before Christmas. And the idea of how far apart, kind of in years, those two masters of unsettling people were, I was just like, man. But in reality, I think it's just Tim Burton more or less made his name in the 90s. Whereas Junji Ito became more prominent, at the very least, in the West. What was I thinking of? Past the new millennia. So it's not a thing about age or even necessarily how long they've been doing it. It's just when certain people end up discovering them. Interesting to think about. Like Junji, like when Tim Burton was doing Batman and Nightmare Before Christmas, Junji Ito was probably like already working on maybe some of his hits, or maybe just like general horror manga. I think Mr. Ito himself would be like, yeah, not everything I've done has been, you know, Stephen King's it. It hasn't been like, not every piece was redefining comedy out there. You're making moves. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing here, you know. I'm planning to finish these animations up and what was I thinking of? Finish these animations up, and they'll sit wherever I put them until people are just like, "Hey, these are good. I like them." And whether or not I'm dead before that is an entirely different matter. Anyway. Hey guys, can I be honest with you? Because like me thinking about this is not going to go away before stream ends. The dog I'm dog sitting, while I was streaming, tore up a carpet in the house. Yeah, and I mean, there's not much I can do about that. You know? Not much I can like I'm just absorbing the fact that this opera track is in a Banjo-Kazooie remix. Anyway, there's not much I can do. Like, I mean, I could replace the carpet. I think it would be better just to... I'm not going to go on a Drake and Josh mission, is more so what I'm saying. I'm not going to be like, they can never know. I would rather just be like, hey, the dog decided to chew on a carpet. Like, I'm not I would be honest. I'd be like, I messed up big time. No, she was out of my sight for 5 seconds. before I was like, oh, I better go let her out, and she had shoot a carpet in that time, and it's what, like, clearly she didn't go in there, got bored, and decided to do it. She had a plan. But yeah, I'd probably just be like, I will pay. I say carpet, it was a rug. I realize I'm saying carpet and like paying to replace it. She didn't destroy the flooring. I'm gonna get this kid fired. Exactly. I mean, luckily it's people I know, you know, which is why this is. I believe I've been on stream and talked about dog sitting here before, so it's not that bad, but it's not like, you know, I have to go to complete strangers and say this rug has been mauled, and they're just like, that was my grandma's rug. Grandma's mug. Why was her grandma's mug on the floor? Hold on. We'll never work in this town again. I mean, listen. I like dog sitting this dog, but if they're just like, we cannot trust you anymore, I'd be like, first off, understandable. Second off, I mean, I don't have to worry about dog sitting anymore. I have choices what to do. What should you do, Shadow Mage? Well, firstly, Shadow Mage, let me describe this rug to you. And then maybe you could have... No. I don't know. Go with your heart, Shadow Mage. Weren't... Why do I have so many knives? You're in the kitchen with Dinah? What was I oh yeah. It's been a while since I've seen it was years ago, enough that I forgot most of the film. But I know, you know, everyone knows about Tim Burton's Batman. And honestly, I feel like that Batman is just a little off. Just the slightest amount off of what I want from like a live action Batman in general, you know? Not necessarily even like singular movie. I'm not being like, oh, this is not a movie I enjoy. No, I mean like, if generally speaking, we were going to present the character and story of Batman in the live action format, Tim Burton's is just a little campier than I would like. You know, it is like more serious than what previous versions in live action had been, which is good to an extent. You don't always need to go grittier every time. But I think in a lot of ways it's still like, you know, trying to preserve a lot of like pure comic stuff. If it just leaned a little more into realism, we already had it. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. I'm not even being like, you know, I'm not saying Batman can't be silly and or that Tim Burton's one is too silly. I wouldn't say either of those things. One of my favorite Batmans is Brave and the Bold, and that's as silly as it gets. But beyond that, I'm just saying, if it was me kind of designing what Batman is like in live action, Tim Burton's is just so ever so slightly off the mark, just a little bit. You know, I'd be like, let's tone it up a bit more, and just really kind of buckle down on like the crime, mystery, vigilante side a little more than the cartoony side, you know, just nudge it a bit. I do think Christian Bale, to its detriment, more so than anything, is still the most quote-unquote realistic Batman. Realistic, not necessarily in the way of like, this is how Batman would be in the real world, more so just realistic as in like, it is trying to take itself incredibly seriously. It is trying to, you know, despite the fact that I'm pretty sure, despite the classic of the third movie, where things happen, such as he's in like the desert slash Middle East, by the way, the charity, um, at one point, and then within like a day is back in Gotham, having no resources of his own, just is in a specific street in Gotham within a day. That's silly, but the movie doesn't want it to be silly. No one was like, man, how'd you do that? And he's like, I don't know. But no, I mean, when I talk about him being the most realistic, it's, for example, the Batmobile. They don't call it the Batmobile; it's the Tumbler. I don't even know if they, to their credit, they do the thing where it's like Batman's an urban legend. He's not Batman; he's the Batman. Yada 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 yada. And I'm not even gonna touch Heath Ledger's Joker. Like that was a thing all on to its own. All that stuff is fine. I just feel more so overall the smaller individual parts and general toning was just like none of it is for show or because he's a superhero. It is because like these all have practical reasons to all of these. I was reminded, I saw a clip from the first Christian Bale Batman just the other day. And freaking, I completely forgot that Ra's al Ghul has like Batman's little arm blades on, like the Order of the League of Shadows in that universe just wears the little Batman arm fins on them as a weapon. Like they had to that's what I'm saying, right? They had to justify that. One of the smallest details common in Batman's costume, and they're like, no. I refuse to let this be a theatrical flourish on the costume. We will justify its existence. And again, this isn't even me critiquing those movies. I'm not being like these movies are bad because of that. I'm saying like that is as stylistically realistic as I think Batman has probably ever been to date. And I do not necessarily miss that. If I'm being honest with you, I don't miss like the idea that they have to justify every little Batman thing as a hyper practical a hyper practical element to his kit. I liked Robert Pattinson's Batman. I should watch it again, honestly, just to kind of be like, okay, now hold up a minute. What was happening in this part of the movie? I do think the point of that movie was less so Batman saves the day and more so, hey Batman, stop being such an edgy bastard for 5 minutes. Hey emo child Bruce Wayne, cut it out. I think the idea is like Batman doesn't necessarily have to be, I don't want to say it's not doing like a character analysis, but more so it's literally being like, hey, you don't need to constantly be in this awful place mentally, yada yada yada. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think at the beginning of the movie, it's just like, I am the darkness. And then by the end of the movie, the point is just like, maybe darkness isn't that great. Maybe I have overhyped darkness too much. Did not think about the consequences of my actions. I maybe had an unintended effect with my brooding ways. Didn't mean for it to go like this, quite frankly. That being said, I do also think the film leans more so than any other live action one into like the detective side specifically. this film is like Batman is a like Batman is useful because he's smart and can solve crime, not because he fights well. I think that is fair. I think that is honestly an overlooked part. Probably why I like solo Batman stories. I feel like I was talking not too long ago about being like, yeah, I like Batman, but I probably wouldn't be like he's one of my favorites just because of how much attention he gets and how overhyped he can be sometimes. You know, I liked it when in the one comic series they did, the Power Rangers absolutely fucking destroyed Batman in a 5v1. I like how when like the power and like to be fair, the Power Rangers are almost it's not just like, well, if it wasn't a 5v1, when are the Power Rangers not like actively together? Very rarely. At best you'll get a 2v1 if you're not bringing backup. You know? But like you're joking yourself. It's just like, I'll get a fair 1v1 with the Power Rangers. Yeah. So basically what happened is like, you know, interdimensional shenanigans, which is honestly kind of what the Power Ranger comics are about, as well as some seasons. It's been a while. I was thinking of not too long ago about how I need to catch up. Well, not catch up, just rewatch Power Rangers. But with that in mind, interdimensional shenanigans happen, which is not necessarily out of place for either Batman or the Power Rangers. I think at first, like, the Black Ranger ends up in Gotham, and Batman's not happy about that, and also the Black Ranger isn't doing super well. So Batman is really I don't even know if he fights him as much as he just kind of gets on his case, as much as he just gets on his fucking nuts about it. And then the rest of the Power Rangers show up because they're like, hey, one of us went missing, and that's not, we're not cool with, that doesn't happen. We're not cool with that. So then the rest of them show up, and Batman just, he has the Batmobile with him. It's not even just like, well, he didn't have, no. If there's one piece of equipment that Batman has decked out at all times to deal with general situations, it's the Batmobile. You know? And he had that next to him. And he still got destroyed. He was like, Flash, help. Of all people, there's one leaguer you don't want called in for backup. It's Superman or the Flash. And Batman was like, I need the Flash, please. And I think that's a completely fair and like, you know, what was I thinking of? I think that is a completely fair and accurate depiction of Batman going up against like these generally pretty superpowered teenagers with attitude, as Zordon loves to say. 5 teenagers with attitude. I've actually here's the thing, I've seen the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, the original and the reboot, but I have not seen the original seasons. I have heard that season 2 specifically of the original show is just like that was, they did the they were the Power Rangers there, which is, you know, great. I like that. I like that. At the very least, even if they're just like, yeah, season 1 ain't quite it. Season 2 though. I enjoy that. But regardless, yeah. Yeah, Batman don't beat the Power Rangers. And if you think otherwise, you're part of the problem. You're part of the Batman problem. Please seek help. Hello. My name is Dylan Cahill, comic enthusiast and general artist. I'd very much like for you to stop wedding yourself over Batman. If you're receiving this call from a loved one, that means you like Batman a little too much. You think that if Batman had enough prep time, he could be our Lord in heaven. You think if Batman had a day of research, Batman could dethrone God. And I'm here to tell you to get a grip on reality. Batman's great. It's not because he does stuff like that. So please, stop. That's the end of the sentence. Stop. Here's what I'm thinking. So the idea is that we get like a motorboat. Stop. The idea is we get kind of like a motorboat thing going here, where, comically, because it is a sailing sloop, it backs up, which typically sloops don't do. And it kind of peels out as it does so. And what was I thinking of? And it gets like that this year. I'm saying motorboat again. It gets that motorboat effect. Oh, that is actually pretty cool. Man, I need to boot up Sea of Thieves. Here's the problem. I had a gaming laptop, and I don't regret that choice, despite what the internet might tell me. But I don't think it's up to the task anymore. I can try booting up Sea of Thieves again. It might be up to like playing some individual games, but in terms of like streaming or playing a new game, it's like, nah. I'm like, okay. So with that in mind, I've been mostly just using console and Mac to do any fun game business I might have. But honestly, I could get back on Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is great. They have actually, because one of the reasons I will ever hop off Sea of Thieves is either because a new game comes out, or because the crippling fear that my favorite pirate game of all time will one day go offline and thus be unplayable just absolutely debilitates me. But kind of with like they made a recent patch for like, hey, do you want to not play with other people? We're gonna let you do that. And while I still think it's online, that gives me like literally the slightest amount of hope that they are taking steps so that the game is we have enough like lost media in games and everything. You might not think about this a lot, but there's a lot of lost media in movies too. I mean, fuck, Doctor Who is like this massive franchise that tons of people love, and it is famously missing chunks of its original work. Like the thing that started as Doctor Who and had all the original members working on, chunks of it are missing. Both because of fires at the BBC studio, and because they would just throw film out. Like, I'm not joking. I learned this from Gam. Everyone go check out Gam. Look, sometimes Juice. Hey, Juice. Listen, I'm a good sport about a lot. What I won't be a good sport about is just throwing away like art, like just pieces of media. I'm not cool. I'm not gonna be okay with that. So yeah. But I was gonna mention how like there's plenty of lost films because people didn't bother to the uphold like the ones they thought were lackluster. And like you can be like, oh well, fucking if they were lackluster, who gives a shit? Listen, whether or not you think like, I don't think there's very much that's not worth preserving when it comes to the human experience. And with that in mind, um, you know, people spend like, some people spent life hours doing that kind of stuff. Sometimes that was those only people's moment on film. Some people it was a passion project, just early filmmakers who got a chance to do something they loved, and now it's lost to history. And in general, a peek back at the lives of those who came before us, which I think is the biggest reason to preserve lost media. You know, it's real easy to say like, oh my goodness, films were so much better back in XYZ times, when only the good films from XYZ times exist anymore. You get what I'm saying? Like, listen, if we don't actively take measures to preserve Seth Rogen's food fight, then people will think that we were making bangers in the 20s. They'll be like, oh man, Spider-Verse? They were so on. If the Emoji Movie, no, Smage. Everyone needs to know that the film Sony Animation Pictures made before Spider-Verse, which might go down as one of the most influential animated films of all time. If they don't know that before that, literally just before that, they released the Emoji Movie, then like what are we even, we're lying to we're all constantly lying to ourselves. And like I guess the grass will be purple today, you know. We need the public to know. Smage, they won't face they won't face justice for those crimes if no one knows they committed the crimes. Okay. We have to let them know. That being said, I've seen some old films that were just real stinkers. So should it just be like a 2-frame thing? Like maybe what I should do is have the boat have like a frame of it raising its ass, which is, I mean, that's what it's doing here. And then like just 2 frames of this water going fucking wild, and then boat peels out. Speaking of peeling out, I've been playing some Sonic Superstars. It's weird because it kind of relates to preserving media. Because I said to friends, I think Sonic Mania was kind of like this natural evolution of what the original games could have / should become. Whereas Superstars is just kind of those old games recreated in both their glory and their flaws. And I enjoy it for both. I'm like, hey, neat. Because I played Sonic 1, I played Sonic 2, I played Sonic 3, I played Sonic, not 4. Never 4. So, and I liked them. I liked getting through them. So the fact that, and to be fair, apparently this is made by the guy who did Sonic 1 and Sonic CD. And Sonic CD is my favorite Sonic, so props to him there. He did, however, also make Ball and Wonderworld, and I'm not joking. So some people might be like, man, this is a step down from Mania. And other people might be like, man, this is a wild step up for that guy. Does Pig know that? Pig, are you here? Pig is asleep. It's a school night. Pig is asleep. As we all know, Pig, the 80-year-old geriatric, also goes to school. Every day, he brings an apple to his teacher's desk. The teacher says oink, because the teacher is also a pig. And he does his best to learn math and English and Spanish, but the Spanish won't work because the American education system has generally failed its youth at helping them learn a second language, whereas the rest of the world seemingly typically tends to have a grip on at least two languages. Hey, I've never asked this before, and like I'm sure there's countries where they teach languages other than English. Do some countries just teach two languages because they're like, okay, here is your native tongue, and here is for when you meet an American and they only know English. I would be surprised. That being said, I imagine plenty of schools in plenty of countries have options as to what language you learn. I had an option in high school. I did go with French. Oh, wait, no, I had an option. It wasn't in high school. I had an option of a language in middle school, which is also why I didn't manage to. I mean, if I had chosen Spanish, I probably would have been somewhat ready for high school Spanish, but I wick it wasn't. I had forgotten all possible Spanish by the time that had happened. So, good times. You know, see, this is, when I was like, man, streaming, I mean, drawing relaxes me. After so much stress of, technical difficulties and dog, this has been going well. Are compulsory, and then you can choose German or French. Most times French, because German is only taught by some schools. Gotcha. So Alphonse, what you're saying is like we didn't have a choice on the English, but German and French became an option to us. That's kind of wild, because it almost supports the other thing I said more so than the second thing. We're just like, you have to learn English because you'll meet a moron who doesn't know another language besides it. so like, you know, we're trying to prepare you for that. And then it's just like, and if you want to learn even more languages, we have a selection here. I almost certainly said on stream, but I'd like to learn Japanese because I have interest in things like, you know, manga. Manga is just comics. It's just the industry is kind of different. You have singular artists making these things, which is more than interesting enough in itself for me to be like, I am enraptured. But also, like, for example, if I go to like Germany or France, I can kind of intuit. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds exactly like an English word. But Japan, I'm not counting on anyone being versed in English. I'm just like, you have no reason. Not only do you have a completely separate language, I'm not about to be like, why don't you know my language? Because very easily someone could be like, I don't know, why don't you know Japanese? You came here. And I'd be like, you're fucking fantastic point, my guy. That's an amazing point. But the other one is Spanish. Because, I mean, obviously, I've met plenty of Spanish speakers, and I've heard Spanish is like the second most spoken language. Gotcha. I learned very little. I know how to say like some words in French. And not much else. Not much else. You're like, are you gonna expand on that, Cahill? No. Nah. Because that sentence was about enough to get you to know how much French I know. But yeah. Also, like, genuinely, between Spanish being such a common language and watching and reading and consuming Japanese media, I imagine if I actually took the effort and time to try and learn those languages, I would be able to somewhat practice a little bit more than, like, not at all. More than, let's say, if I want to learn Russian. If I was going to learn Russian, I would I would get some practice in shitpost that I see from time to time, and that would kind of be it. I sent Juice a meme just before stream where someone was surprised by a monster in Minecraft, and then they built a atomic bomb in Minecraft. And I realized after sending it, I was like, oh, the death text is in Russian. All I can do is read. I forget if it was you, Alphonse, but I do feel like I know someone. I had known someone in the past who was just like, yeah, I know Russian. I'm like, oh, do you use it a lot? No. Nah. Not really. Man, think about, like, the 1960s, where if you knew Russian in America, you need to not tell anyone you know Russian in America. Because everyone thinks spies are just everywhere all the time. Now we don't even need them, we have the internet. You're not a waste of knowledge, Alphonse. Heck, you could help me learn any of these languages. If you're just like, I need to use them for something, I'd love to know any of them. If it strikes your fancy. We're like, okay, Cahill, here are some tips and pointers, my guy. Here's how your friend Alphonse learned German. I feel like I see German because, like, again, with the commonality of how much Cahill comics run in day to day, like, any given language at any given time. I feel like I run into German more than even I might. It's my life, and it's now or never. But also, I feel like I run into German more than I'm typically expecting. It's like, oh, what are they saying? It's German. Again? How does it keep happening? Lord, fucking... Cahill regurgitates bits from the internet. Part 1. Part 100. Snapcube was playing Spider-Man Web of Shadows in preparation for Spider-Man 2, a game I cannot play. And there's a mission where you have to bring people to the hospital. And lay them down on a gurney. And the first time, as Spider-Man, she's like, they're dead. And she's just like, how does this keep happening? Oh no, she's just like, how? I love how I was trying to do that, and it's just like, no, you'd have to watch the video. So I'm just awful at my job. Listen, if you haven't watched Snapcube after me constantly talking about Miss Penny Snapcube, then I don't know what else I can do. Definitely not do her bits, but worse. You know. I could come up with my own little skits and comedies, as opposed to just awkwardly reciting hers. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll be original with my content. Did anyone ever think about that? No. You all assume I'd only ever steal. German is easy to learn by understanding its rule. Russian is brute force memory. Well, then Russia, I mean, as if we needed more reasons for Russia and America to be like, you know, classic forces pitted against each other. because Alphonse, that's what you said about Russian is just also American. Just also how I said I did unironically just say American, man. I'm an issue. But oopsie poodle. But yeah, that's just how English is. Americanese, exactly. See, I knew I was doing it. I was like, oh, I just said American and not English. But some people don't. That's worse. You say that, Alphonse, as if there's not like... I mean, maybe Webster Dictionary is the problem, you know? Maybe the issue is the dictionary just adding shit in. And when you line it up with the rest of the rules of grammar, it makes no sense. But, like, there's plenty of official English stuff that doesn't line up with any, like, you know, little tricks or rules that we give ourselves to help remember the language in school. So, unfortunate but true. All I'm saying, Alphonse, is don't don't waste your time defending English as a language. There's lots of other stuff to do. Lots of other things to argue about, I'm sure. So, go do that instead. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna call it here. It's a bit of a shorter stream. I apologize. I appreciate the donations to charity. It is wildly appreciated. Thank you, Smage and Riku. But like, I could just be editing. Like, the rest of this could just be editing. And honestly, after technical difficulties and everything, I'd rather just go sleep before work. So, how about we raid someone? How about we go spread some love, you know? In the spirit of charity. Let us find someone. How about we raid good old Kyostar, who is such a sweetie. They're streaming Elden Ring right now. I mean, I gotta start speed running Bloodborne. So hello people in chat. If you'd like to, this has been a wild stream. I'm sure watching this back will just be the most insane stuff. Just moment to moment, shockingly little of it being art. But if anyone in chat would like to do a little raid phrase, how about we do Bloodborne speedrun? To let them know what we've accomplished here today. I'd appreciate that. But yeah, thanks y'all for being here. I will be back tomorrow, hopefully with a much more put together stream, not just technically, but also just content wise. And we'll still be raising money for what was I thinking of? For PCRF, because $200 is an amazing amount to raise in one short stream, but we can always do more by raising more. So hey, let people know tomorrow we'll be playing some more Metroid Prime. I'll do a little recap at the start of stream and whenever someone comes in to let them know what's going on, and when we as I'm playing it. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all then. Bye.